Well, it was a year ago, about a year ago this week of 2024, the week between Christmas and the New Year, back in 2024, where on X, Twitter X, a lot of noise was being made about the whole H-1B program and the things that Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy had to say about them and the pushback that they got, the flat out ratioing of their comments that they got at that time. President of the United States, President Trump, President-elect Trump at the time was not inaugurated. He said he was aware of both sides of the argument. He is inaugurated now. What difference a year makes? There are now some new changes to the H-1B program that we've had this year, including what happened just 3-4 days ago. So let's take a look. Here we have at the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, an article that came out a couple of days before Christmas. This president doesn't take a whole lot of executive breaks. Even when he's golfing, his administration is actually getting some things done. Is this the panacea? Is it what I want in the end, the absolute end of the whole H-1B and other non-immigrant visa programs? No, it isn't, but it does weaken it quite a bit. So let's take a look at some of the new changes. It says DHS changes process for awarding H-1B work visas to better protect American workers. And based on what I've read, that's true. We're going to go over this tiny article. DHS is amending regulations governing the H-1B work visa selection process to prioritize the allocation of visas to higher skilled and higher paid aliens to better protect wages, work conditions, and job opportunities for American workers. The new rule replaces the random lottery for selecting visa recipients with a process that gives greater weight to those with higher skills. That's true. From what I've seen, what they're going to do is basically give more lottery tickets, if you will, for those jobs that require a higher pay and higher skill. Those applicants will have more lottery tickets in the pool than someone who is entry level or lower skilled worker. So the lower skilled person making, say, $50K a year, $60K a year might get one lottery ticket in to be selected for an H-1B, whereas the person $150K, higher skilled, more years of experience, will have 3-4 lottery tickets in the pool. So there's a better chance for them to get selected statistically. Now, quite frankly, I've said it before, no one for an entry-level position, we do not need to import foreign talent in for a entry-level position. If it's entry-level, we don't need to import anybody. We can use the people we have here for an entry-level position. For a low-skilled position, we don't need to import anybody either. So there's that. But back to the article. Yeah, the existing random selection process for H-1B registrations was exploited and abused by U.S. employers who were primarily seeking to import foreign workers at lower wages than they would pay American workers, said U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services spokesman Matthew Tragesser. So he works for the organization. He's a spokesman, and he admits that the program was being exploited. Democrats want to import in new voters. Many Republicans who take advantage of legal immigration want to import in cheaper labor. Shame on both of them. The new weighted selection will better serve Congress's intent for the H-1B program and strengthen America's competitiveness by incentivizing American employers to petition for higher paid, higher skilled foreign workers. With these regulatory changes and others in the future, we will continue to update the H-1B program to help American businesses without allowing the abuse that was harming American workers. Well, the interesting thing is, apparently, as they're saying, better serve Congress's intent. The H-1B program is a creation of Congress. So technically, the executive branch can't get rid of it, but they can make some changes to get it to be more of what its initial intent was. The executive branch does, to my understanding, have a lot to say about the OPT visa. I think it's called the Occupational Practical Training Visa. That was a creation through executive order. And the president, as the chief executive in the executive branch, could just overnight get rid of that program. So will he do that? I don't know. The number of H-1B visas issued annually is limited to 65,000, with an additional 20,000 for the advanced degree holders, people with masters and PhDs. If you believe that it's just 65,000, you probably also believe that there's no corruption going on in Minnesota with Somali immigrants and government funding. You probably also believe that that Joseph Robinette Biden actually got 81 million legal votes, making him the most popular, most beloved, most respected American politician of all time. If you believe all of these things, we can't be friends. I don't want to hang out with you because I don't want to catch what you've got. Anyway, the current random selection process has often been criticized for allowing unscrupulous employers to exploit it by flooding the selection pool with lower skilled foreign workers paid at low wages to the detriment of the American workforce. To address these concerns, the final rule will implement a weighted selection process, which I've already talked about, that will increase the probability that H-1B visas are allocated to higher skilled and higher paid aliens. There's that word. The government uses the word alien. Not immigrant. They're aliens, legal aliens, while maintaining the opportunity for employers to secure H-1B workers at all wage levels. So at all wage levels, including entry level, but just making it harder for the entry level applicant to actually be selected. This final rule is effective February 27th of next year, 2026, and will be in place for the fiscal year 2027 H-1B cap registration season. The rule is another crucial step to strengthening the integrity of the H-1B non-immigrant visa program. It's in line with other key changes the administration has made, such as the presidential proclamation that came out September 19th, that requires employers to pay an additional $100,000 per visa as a condition of eligibility. That is not for the people who are already here. That's $100,000 for new applicants. As part of the Trump administration's commitment to H-1B reform, we will continue to demand more from both employers and aliens so as not to undercut the American workers and put America first, said Mr. Tregesser. And just to show you how there was something I've found to be axiomatic, this statement that whenever government gets involved in anything, they make it more complicated and more expensive. To show you that, there's a link here that goes to the actual final rule. And goodness gracious, if you want to read all that, I don't think you'll need any melatonin or sleeping aids, because this is going to put you to sleep. And not look, I'm just way up here, and this is still just the outline of this document. Here's all the abbreviations that they're going to be using. Here's the executive summary, and just goes on and on and on. And they're admitting that it's a problem. And they're talking about the pros and cons of making these changes. They're aware of the counter arguments, and they're putting them up front and addressing what they perceive to be the arguments that people are going to have against these changes. So that's interesting. This is definitely PhD level type of document. So I feel for the technical writers that had to do this, but hey, they have jobs, they need to get paid. And I'm not reading all that. But what I did read was someone apparently who did take the time to read it. They summarized it here on Twitter X. They said it's unpublished but finalized. DHS has quietly rewritten the H-1B lottery. Before this rule even hits the Federal Register, here's what actually changes in plain English based directly on the final rule. The H-1B lottery is no longer purely random. The U.S. Customs and Immigration Services is replacing the random lottery with a wage-weighted selection system. That's true. Registrations are still beneficiary-based, but higher wages now get better odds. And he breaks it down like this. Wage level determines the lottery odds. Each H-1B registration is entered into the selection pool based on the offered wage. So you see someone just at wage level 1 will just get basically one lottery ticket into the pool. Wage level 2 will get basically 2 tickets. Wage level 3, 3 tickets. Wage level 4, the higher paid, supposedly higher skilled folks will get entered in 4 times, 4 tickets, making it more likely that the higher skilled, higher paid person will be hired in. That could displace some people who have more skill like myself. But it will be beneficial for the entry-level folks just coming out of college who are looking to get entree into their careers and to the industries of science, technology, engineering, and math. Each worker is still counted once towards the cap, but higher wages dramatically increase selection probability. I don't want any of these folks to be selected over Americans, but as I mentioned, this is a program that's been implemented by Congress. It will take an act of Congress to get rid of it, but it would not take an act of Congress to get rid of OPT. Employers must disclose wage details up front. Okay, that's cool. And the U.S. Customs and Immigration Services can deny or revoke petitions for manipulation. Entry-level and lower wage H-1Bs are heavily disadvantaged, as we can see up here, by the wage levels. And this rule openly acknowledges that past abuse centered on lower paid roles, IT staffing and outsourcing firms that were gaming the system, wage suppression of U.S. workers. Yeah, some of these firms, they would hire people, the whole thing about their credentials being fraudulent or non-vetted notwithstanding, they would still hire these folks and have them on a bench waiting for a job. That goes against the whole notion that we have openings that Americans can't fill. It's just a scam all around. But anyway, the cap size doesn't change. 65,000 regular cap, 20,000 for advanced degrees. And I don't believe that. What changes is who? Okay, but bottom line, this rule explicitly admits the H-1B program has been abused. You can see that in the documentation. It prioritizes higher wages over volume hiring, makes entry-level and low-wage H-1Bs harder to secure, gives the U.S. Customs and Immigration Services stronger enforcement tools. It doesn't end H-1Bs, but it fundamentally reshapes who benefits from them. I'd rather have this than not have it. It's not perfect. It's a step in the right direction. Other presidents haven't had even this much courage to go this far. So thank you, President Trump. Thank you, the Trump administration, for doing this. Nice Christmas present for people in STEM. It's a step that potentially can help deliver on his promise to make America great again for folks in my industry and those in the other sciences and tech and mathematics, because we've got the know-how here. We have the right stuff. And what difference a year makes, what difference a president makes. If this is your first time watching, consider giving thumbs up on the video. Perhaps consider subscribing. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.